Good morning, students. Again, welcoming you all for this second session for the day, which is our last day of Conclave series. This topic is going to be on pricing strategy and how it impacts corporate strategy. And as you can see, we are having our guest speaker for this session, Mr. Kedar Deodhar. I would like to give his short introduction to you all. So, Sir is a professional with 14 years of diverse work experience across a broad spectrum of finance focused on pricing, business partnering, FP&A, large deals and analytics and management, business planning, business operations, strategic spend management, M&A, and M&A integration and strategic fundraising. He is a CA and MBA from IIM Indore with focus on general management, strategy, strategic pricing, financial management, operation strategy, and organizational behavior. He has functioned on the areas like he has worked upon a pricing, finance, business partnering, FP&A, buy side and sell side bid, RFP management, strategic bids, large deals, deal structuring, and commercials review, business plan preparations and validations, business valuation, strategic fundraising, debt and equity both. So this was a very short introduction. And he's coming from a very vast background related to finance management and all other relative topics, or we can say domains in the same. So yes, I welcome you, sir, for the Spectrum 2023, a virtual conclave of MIT School of Distance Education. Over to you,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Bhageshri ma'am, for giving that long introduction. Okay, so I would say that I have kind of, let's say, little experience in all of those areas, and then I'm just trying to, let's say, put it together. I'm sure the batch which you are having right now is also having a significant experience, and they are kind of leaders in their own field, and trying to kind of, let's say, advance their careers through this course. So I'm really fortunate to be here and be amongst the students from whom I can also learn in this process, right? So okay, so let's dive straight into a interesting subject, right? So pricing is one area, be it manufacturing, be it service industry, be it product industry, be it a software as a service, right? You take anything up, okay, everything is relied on pricing, right? How do you price a particular product or service or a particular, let's say, uh, infrastructure to the customer? Okay, so all the focus is on how do you price it right. So we'll start with some introduction, right, and why it is linked to a corporate strategy. So I just want to understand. I'll share my screen and then we'll take it up. Yeah. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir,
Great.
we can see.
Yeah, we can see it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. So I would like this session to be interactive. So it's okay if you have, I mean, if you can have, let's say, students speak out their, let's say, mind on various questions or various discussions we would be having over the course of next 45, 50 minutes, right? So we can have the Q&A session at the end of the, let's say, session, or in between. If anybody has a question, we can discuss that as well. So long as the flow remains coherent and not go out of the way. Yeah. So I would like students over here to describe pricing. Okay, maybe in one sentence or two words. If someone has a view on pricing, maybe Bhageshri ma'am, you can moderate and maybe you can ask people to, let's say, describe pricing, right? So just one sentence answer or maybe two words. Okay, whenever what do you let's say think whenever a word pricing comes to your mind?
Sir, Dinesh Kumar here.
Mhm.
What I understand, pricing means to a customer the return he gives in exchange of the value he get from that products.
Okay. So value for money is what you are
Yes,
thinking of. Okay.
yes.
Okay. Any other let's say thoughts on what pricing is?
Good afternoon, sir.
Hmm? Good afternoon.
Kiran Hakke over here. Pricing is rating according to the product.
Rating according to the product. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, sir.
Hmm? Good afternoon.
As per my understanding, pricing is the process in which we are deciding the value for a product by considering the all manufacturing cost and raw material cost or RMH,
Hmm.
LHR, everything we are considering, and we are
Mhm.
deciding the value for the product. That all process of deciding that value is might be considering as a pricing.
Okay. This, let's say, explanation, okay, on whether the pricing really means this, or is it really a significant expanded scope where we just not look at the cost but look at various factors. Okay, we'll come to that. Okay, so meaning like it could be sell more volume, right? Describe pricing. So I need to have a pricing which can be where the volume is higher, right? And as the I mean, as he pointed out, uh, uh, he pointed out basically that the pricing is basically a function of cost, right? And then we decide the value of that particular service or product which needs to be sold into the market. Okay, so practically first one we said that customer is god, right? So do as he says. That's the one I think we let's say referenced initially, right? Whatever customer percepts, okay, towards a particular service or a product, then that becomes a pricing. Another thought process was that it is cost plus, right? Which we discussed right now. Yeah, let's go cost plus. Okay, we'll come to that on whether that is the most efficient process of looking at the pricing, and why pricing that way is much different than the strategic pricing. Okay, we'll link that. And another area of pricing is that follow the leader, right? For example, let's say geo plans. Okay, so geo disrupted the market and set the pricing trend. Okay, and now everybody is trying to follow, right? I mean, there are limited number of players in the, let's say, telecom service market, but then Airtel is also trying to catch up with geo plans, right? So because it's coming up with so many plans and so many options for viewers, okay, or the customers, that everybody is playing the catch up game. So everybody is looking at the leader, okay, and trying to match the pricing which the leader is following. Yeah, you can see that in any other sector, right? Who has the, let's say, anyone who has the first mover advantage, everyone will try to follow that pricing. Okay, we'll come to those examples. Yeah, okay, so fair enough. So I got the idea of what the pricing, let's say, looks like from the existing point of view. Majorly focus on value for money, customer, and cost plus. Okay, now let's describe the strategic pricing. Okay, so anyone from the, let's say, group who can, let's say, link pricing to the strategy, and why do they think that pricing is strategic pricing should be different from what we just understood few minutes back, right? The normal pricing. Maybe one two line, maybe one two sentence, or let's say 2 words, 3 words answer, okay, on what they think about whenever they, let's say, hear a word about strategic pricing. Because these days everything, if you add, let's say, a word called strategy, it becomes like a complex word, right? But trust me, it is not complex, and it is very straightforward. It's just a logical thought flow, let's say, delve into.
Sir, it's a business
Mention.
pricing.
Okay, B to business to business pricing. Okay.
Yeah, so if it depending on the product, if it's a mass product or a niche
Mhm.
product, you will price it, and that
Mhm.
will and you will decide your strategy based on that.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, and we'll revisit this, let's say, this discussion on whether you do a pricing or you do a strategy based on the pricing, or you do pricing based on the strategy. Yeah, so we'll come to that. Okay, any other thoughts which you are having?
Competitive pricing.
Fair enough. Okay, good point.
Right. It is the this, pricing that has been decided based on which strategy to follow. So if it is the
Mhm.
advantage in respect of the market share, or it is the cost
Mhm.
benefit. So based on that, the target on the pricing. That's good strategy.
Fair enough. Okay, so based on the overall strategy which you are looking for at a particular point in time, you decide your pricing mechanism.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. Absolutely.
okay.
Sometimes am I audible, right?
Yes, yes.
Hello. Okay. So sometime when we do a shopping on a Amazon platform also,
Right.
we find that Amazon have own deal like Amazon deal or Amazon best selling. So they strategize the pricing as per the maybe the market demand or as per the goods available with them. So this is also one
Mhm.
kind of strategy which we find on the Amazon platform. So
Okay. So you're
Uh,
saying the technology which is deployed by Amazon for the strategic pricing or the pricing of, let's say, various products is again a strategic pricing, yeah, based on the customer needs. Okay.
yes. Dinesh here, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
strategic pricing depends. Means same product can price differently.
Hmm.
Suppose if the we are launching new products in the market, we are entering to the market, then it may have different price. And when a product is stable and it is high, it may have different prices.
Okay. So Dinesh is saying that pricing depends upon the product life cycle. At the start of the life cycle, the pricing could be different. When it matures, it could be different. When it's on a decline, pricing could be different. Fair enough. Okay.
Exact.
Okay. Fine. So any other thoughts? Feel
Sir,
free.
it can be based upon the customer
Uh-huh.
stratification also, depending upon the different types of customer, based upon the segregation of the customers also, we can have the pricing strategy.
Okay. So basically, you are saying this market segment.
Yes, sir, market segment is, sir.
Okay. Fine. We'll come to it. These are
so
all
sometimes
relevant points. Yeah.
so
Go.
sometimes it can be tagged with the cashback strategy also. As just now one of our speaker told, a pricey variation. So a same
Mm-hmm.
product on a Flipkart and the same product on Amazon, the pricing may vary with a couple of 5 to 10 rupees or 15 rupees with the
Mm-hmm.
cashback offers or with some discounts. Sir. This is also a different type of strategic pricing. Sir.
Okay. I would reserve my, let's say, opinion on this, let's say, explanation, and we'll come to that, that whether, let's say, having a cashback really means a strategy towards pricing or it is just a tactic or a mechanism, okay, to achieve the larger, let's say, corporate strategy. Okay. So fair enough. So I think these inputs are very relevant. I think you have already, Bhageshri ma'am, you have already got a brilliant batch, I would say, that they are kind of
Thank
thinking
you.
out of the box and they are kind of coming up with those let's say innovative let's say answers, right? So I'm really applaud that. So
Sir,
okay.
surge pricing, sir, one of the
Sorry.
surge pricing, sir, is one of
Search
the.
pricing, yeah, it's one of the areas. So we'll come to that, how whether what search pricing, where it fits into the overall strategic pricing. Okay, will fit. So first thing is, whenever, as I said, right, whenever you attach a word strategy, it becomes a cliche, right? So but trust me, strategic pricing is really not a cliche thing. It is real time. Okay, and there is a empirical evidence which is available that those who follow strategic pricing, they are more successful. Those companies are more successful than those who don't follow the strategic pricing, okay, as a methodology. So there is a empirical evidence. I'll give you examples on this. Okay. So pricing and strategy, okay, do you think that they are no way connected? No, right? I mean, they are connected, right? So corporate strategy and pricing strategy are integral part. Okay. So first, I'll just give an idea of what the corporate strategy is. The corporate strategy, as you all know, right, is basically, let's say, having a, let's say, niche or let's say first mover competitive advantage, making sure that you create that advantage, you sustain that advantage in a particular market, and you do that profitably, and you, let's say, provide return to all your stakeholders. So when I talk about stakeholders does not only mean, let's say, the company shareholders or employees. It also talks about your vendors, it talks about your customers. So it provides a return to your stakeholders as well. So that is, I would say, a capsulated definition of a corporate strategy for any company, right? They want to increase their return on investment, have the competitive advantage, and provide return to the stakeholders. Okay, and how do they do that? Is pricing strategy is the only lever. Okay. Are you aware of the 4 P's of marketing? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, they are mentioning in chat box
Oh,
product
is it? Okay.
pricing,
I'm
their
not able to
options.
see. Okay, fine. I'm not able to see that, but that's fine. Uh, okay. So there are 4 P's of marketing, right? Price, product, promotion, and place, right? Out of all these four, okay, if you really think, price is the only lever, okay, of marketing, which brings in revenue and profits. No other lever of all those four remaining three levers, they are cost levers. Okay, you are doing promotion, okay, to acquire a customer, you are spending the money, okay, you are doing all that stuff. Those are allied activities, so that you support that pricing, which brings in revenue and profitability. Okay, so that's why it is the most important lever in the marketing. Okay, we'll come to that where it sits. Okay, whether it should be sales, marketing, finance, there are various views about it. Okay, we'll come to that. Uh, so uh, as we discussed the Reliance Jio example, right, disruptive way to capture value. So Reliance was not a new, let's say, player in the telecom market. If in fact, if you see their strategy, they never enter into a new growth areas. They always enter into established areas. For example, retail. Okay, retail was an established area. They just entered into the market, disrupted the way it works, and Reliance Retail is now India's biggest retail chain in terms of footprint, revenue, all that stuff. Same is the case with Jio. They were the last to enter, and now they are market leaders. Okay, so it may not be that you are the first to enter into the market. You may be last to enter into the market, but the way you price your products or services is so disruptive that you become a leader into that market eventually. Now comes the important concept of value based pricing. I think in the first slide someone referenced about value for money, right? So what is value for money? What do we say value based pricing? What do we mean by value? So we'll come to that. Okay, what value means for a customer and for a company as we delve deep. Okay, so I want to give a couple of examples of a strategic pricing. I'm sure everybody of you have some kind of a OTT subscription, right? Be it Disney Hotstar, it may be Netflix, it may be let's say Z5, anything. So what do you think that pricing strategy is for all the OTT platforms, and who is the leader in OTT platform right now? Okay, are you writing somewhere? Do I
Yes,
need
they are
to check?
writing about Netflix, Tata Play.
Okay, yeah, I got to see. So, right. So, as you know, right, Amazon Prime, Netflix, okay. Uh, then you have Z5. Okay, so who do you think in India? Okay, let's restrict the discussion to India. Who do you think is the leader in OTT? Okay, as far as India market is considered.
Options are like they are mentioning Netflix, Z,
Yeah, Netflix,
Geo
Jio
Cinema.
Cinema. Okay, that's an interesting point, right? Jio Cinema. We'll come to that. Okay, Zoom. Okay, right. Amazon Prime. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think I have got the answer. So if you see the players, okay, who are involved in the OTT platform, do you think that uh, I mean that particular activity is at the core of their strategy? Okay. Let's take an example of Amazon Prime. Okay. Why do you think that Amazon has launched Prime as an OTT channel? Okay. Is it their core strategy or corporate strategy, or is it that okay it helps them to achieve some different corporate objective. Anybody can provide their views.
So it helps them. It helps the customer to hooked up with the Amazon platform for purchase and other activities.
Right. So basically the ultimate objective for Amazon is to acquire a customer, not only acquire the customer, but retain the customer, because customer acquisition cost is really costly these days, right? To acquire a customer is really costly. And on top of that, if you want to retain them, then you need to really have few value added benefits provided to the customer. Okay, so Amazon Prime or Amazon OTT is not the core of Amazon's overall strategy. The overall strategy is to acquire a customer, retain the customer, and sell, push him to purchase more from the Amazon platform. Yeah, and that's why they are kind of hooked up on the Amazon Prime. Okay, that's the strategy. Vis-a-vis now, if you consider Netflix, what is Netflix strategy? Okay, customer acquisition is at the core of Netflix, right? Their only business is movie streaming and web series streaming. They don't have any other business, right? So they are entirely focused on movie streaming and web series streaming, if you see. Yeah, so their core of the corporate strategy is basically to make money from that core strategy of acquiring a customer and making him see those OTT web series or films which are streamed and understand the pulse and provide new content. Okay, Amazon Prime is not so bothered about, let's say, new content. That's why if you see, most of the Amazon Prime content is sourced from other, let's say, other production houses, whereas Netflix tends to produce their own shows and stream it on the Netflix channel, okay, or the not Netflix app. Okay, so that is the value based pricing. So value is different for Amazon, value is different for Netflix, and that's the reason you see that there is significant difference between the pricing of Amazon Prime. For example, if you go to Netflix mobile plan on all devices, it works out to be 200 per month. Okay, only a die hard hardcore movie fan or a web series fan who values that content will subscribe to Netflix and will watch those shows, right? Whereas if you go on Amazon Prime, that the main purpose of customer is basically to get the Prime membership. Okay, there is no separate membership for Prime Video. You get an Amazon Prime membership where you can, let's say, have more freebies provided by Amazon. As part of it, OTT platform is one of the, let's say, service provided by Amazon. That's why it is 1,000 rupees or 1,300 rupees a year. Okay, vis-a-vis 200 rupees a month. But both these platforms still coexist, right? So it's not that, okay, someone is taking over other, right? Okay, so let's come to the, let's say, some easier example, right? So imagine that all of you guys, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, sir, to disturb, sir. Then, sir, what is the objective of Geo Cinema then, in the presence of Amazon Prime and Netflix?
We are not able to hear you, sir.
So you're not audible, sir.
No, Kedar, sir, I guess there is some issue. We are not able to hear you. No.
We can see your screen, but your voice is not coming.
Not yet. Maybe you can remove those headphones.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I hope it's clear, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Very much clear.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah, so Geo Cinemas, very interesting observation. So as we said, right, Geo never enters into the market as the first one to enter into the market. In fact, if you see, Geo Cinemas is the last one to enter into the market, and that's why if you see the pricing strategy which they are following, or the overall corporate strategy, is disrupting the market, right? So you can see that, okay, they live stream Football World Cup for free. When we say free, we have to be very careful. People had to buy the plans and obviously had to kind of see that on Geo Cinemas. Then they made clear that you need not have a Geo subscription to have Geo Cinemas. So think the progression which they are having, right? Initially, when the Football World Cup came, they said that you need to have a Geo connection. After that, when IPL came, they said that you don't need to have a Geo connection. So the strategy is really evolving with a sole objective of acquiring the customers and retaining the customers on Geo platform. Okay, so Geo platform is not only about mobile or, let's say, OTT platform, it has e-commerce. Okay, so it's again a wider strategy similar to Amazon, that they want to hook on to the customers and make sure that customers don't leave the Geo platform. Okay. Okay, so let's go to some light example, right? Suppose all of you guys, let's say, plan a trip to Goa, right? And then it's a hot summer day in Goa, and you are on the beach, right? And there's some person who comes. I'll give a, let's say, family oriented example. It's, let some person comes in and he offers you a Coca-Cola, okay, on a beach. Okay, now you ask for a price, right? It's a hot summer day, I mean, you don't want to get up. Okay, he says that I'll give you that Coke bottle for 100 rupees. That same Coke bottle, if you go, let's say, 1 kilometer away from the beach, you will get it at 20 rupees. Okay, So what would be your thought process? Would you pay 100 rupees for that Coke bottle?
Yes, sir, we can pay. There are chances.
Okay. So what's the what would be the logic, or what would be the thought process behind it, that you are ready to pay same bottle, you are ready to pay 100 rupees for the same bottle which is available at 20 rupees just
Because it is a comfort matter. It is a very much hot. You need to walk for 1 kilometer. You will be sweating. All those things. You are with family. So it is your comfort. Your
okay, one is
your
comfort.
valuing the
Okay.
service.
So top of
Okay.
this is that we have come to Goa for a vacation. And vacation
Hmm.
means something when we are putting our money into it for comfort, for enjoyment, and for everything of activities. So if it's a hot summer and when we are on the sitting beside the beach and we are having a hot sand beneath you, at that time if somebody is offering us at least a drink for 100 rupees, I think that is much more better to take it rather than travel for a 1 kilometer and waste your time, your vacation mood, and your energy and everything like that. So we can
Absolutely.
bargain
Okay.
with them. That's a better thing. If you can bargain for not
Okay.
for one or two or three, we can bargain them the pricing. That is what we can do as a strategy for that. But we'll have to move ahead for that.
I will
Okay.
call this as a better customer experience, sir, in one word.
Okay. Got it. So I've
Once I
understood
will buy,
the
but
thought
not
process. Yeah.
always.
Sorry.
Once I will buy, but not always. If it is a once
Correct.
time I have to buy, then I will buy, but not always.
Absolutely. So you will restrict your consumption maybe to only one bottle, whereas if it was available for 20, you could have had. Okay. So you could have had 2 or 3 bottles. Okay, we'll come to that. So really interesting observations. Okay. So now enters the angle of human behavior, and as we know, okay, we try to be as rational as possible, but sometimes, okay, we are irrational. Okay. And that's when the pricing strategy comes into play, that you have to capture those irrational, let's say, behaviors and price the item accordingly, right? So for example, we just had an example of Coke, right? So similarly, that's called psychological value. All of you, okay, initially started the discussion with value for money. Okay, that I will pay value for money, right? And now we are starting with a discussion that, okay, I'm ready to pay 100 rupees as well, because that's a psychological value I am getting, right? So it's not always relating to value for money. Okay, it's the psychological value which you attach to it, and you're ready to shell out 100 rupees, right, instead of 25 times more, okay, for the same commoditized product, right, which you could have got, let's say, not even 20. If it is not chilled, you could have got it at 15 rupees as well. You could have chilled it at your own, but it's the psychological value which you are attaching to it, for which you are ready to pay the premium, right? So it is not always it is all not always beneficial to reduce your prices just because customer wants to have that particular service or product at a cheaper way, right? There are ways to increase the price and still make sure that customer pays for it. That's the psychological value which one needs to understand whenever a pricing strategy is worked out. Okay, so we'll understand. So all of you are aware of the Maslow's hierarchy, I'm sure, as part of your MBA program. So we'll take that analogy on the pricing strategy and see that how the pricing strategy builds up in terms of, let's say, it starts with, let's say, numbers, which is value for money, and then it ends up being a psychological, let's say, tactic or a strategy wherein you deploy various strategies to make sure that you cater to different segments. Okay, so this is the, let's say, you can say, hierarchy of, let's say, pricing strategy. These are five, let's say, building blocks, okay, of a pricing strategy. It starts with value creation. Okay, as we discussed, right, the value creation can be economic value, value for money, okay, or it can be psychological value, which we just referenced. We are ready to shell out 100 rupees for a 20 rupees bottle, or it can be a perception value, right? Or it can be a first mover advantage, or it can be early adopter. So for example, tell me, let's take an example of Apple phones. Okay, so when Apple was launched in US, okay, they had priced, now the prices are quite different from what you can see, but when they initially launched it, they had said that I'll give phone at $400, $400, okay, At that point in time, everyone in the market, including the customers, okay, some customers said that that's an astronomical pricing for a mobile phone. Okay, but what happened after that? Did people buy iPhone even if it was $400 initially? Now it is almost $1,000, $1,500, and still you see people buying Apple phones, right?
Yes.
Right.
Why? What could be the reason?
Brand image, so they want to
Mobile.
recognize with that brand.
Value creation,
Okay.
as you mentioned.
What value creation did they create?
So they have enabled lots of securities concern points. Apart from that, they have their own platform by which they offer different kind of facilities, better qualities
Mhm.
of pictures, better qualities of apps, and lots of more things. So
Yeah, it is
Okay.
brand value.
Okay, fine. So we'll analyze this example in two ways, positives and negatives. Okay, positive is certainly, yeah, Apple had a brand image. They created a brand image, but that brand image was created based on the value they have created, right? It was first of a kind, extremely simple to use interface, which was introduced in the market, right? No one had introduced such easy user interface in smartphone category at that point in time. Okay, so that was the one. Second mistake they did not do is asking the customers what price they are willing to pay. Yeah, they did not go into the market and then ask the customers what price do they want to pay, because customers never knew that what's the value of that user interface, what's the value of that privacy, what's the value of the security features which Apple is trying to bring in, right? If they would have asked customers, they would have said, I will pay $100, or maybe give it to me in a plan. Okay, and I'll recover that money, I mean recover that money in a period of 2 years through a mobile plan. Okay, they would have got the standard answers, right? But they did not go, because they knew the value they are creating and they attached a price to it. Okay, that $400 is my starting price. So when Apple reduced their mobile prices from $400 to $300, people went crazy. Okay, people said that, okay, it's almost a drop of 25%. Let's go and get more volume, right? So people just barged into the Apple stores and just kept on, let's say, purchasing those phones, because they thought that coming from 400 to 300 is a really great bargain for Apple. So they created that brand, premium brand image. And because of which, as you see, Apple is right now has crossed the market cap of $3 trillion. That's, I think, very close to India GDP. Okay.
So
So
can we consider a mentality of people or consumer? Many people buy Apple phone just for showing status, and also we can say that if consumers' mentality for
absolutely.
showing
Yeah, yeah.
status.
Yeah, absolutely. Apple used everything possible to make sure that the pricing strategy they had was successful, be it consumer perceptions, because it was anyways a premium brand. In addition, but those all are peripheral things, right? Those all, if the product itself is not good, whatever, let's say, peripheral things you add in, okay, it will not work. Okay, it will not work. But the product in itself had such a good features, okay, if in terms of camera, okay, in terms of privacy, it had such a good features that people just bought into it, right? Bought into that idea of privacy, and they were ready to pay that premium, right, for that particular, let's say, feature. So we'll take this example and see. So first they created a value, then we talked about the price structure, right? They created a price structure saying that, okay, they initially started with $400, which seemed very high, but the moment they said that, okay, I'm offering this for $300, people just bought in, assuming that it's a 25% drop from Apple. Okay, it's a great bargain. You can get an Apple phone at $300. Right now it is at $1,000 because it's the technology has advanced. Third pillar is the value communication. Look at the ads which Apple, look at the recent ads which Apple, let's say, aired on the TV, or let's say on let's say YouTube, right? Look at the communication which they are doing it. The most important communication right now they are doing is privacy, right? Nobody is able to trace your digital footprints if you are using Apple phone. Okay, that's the value they are communicating constantly to the customers, potential customers, existing customers. And second thing is the camera quality. Okay, so for that they have shot films, okay, using Apple phone. they are and they are promoting those films, they are asking people to see those films, look at the quality. That's how they are communicating the value. So you think that product is perfect, okay, company thinks that product is perfect, it has created a value, but that needs to be communicated heavily, okay, and effectively. For that, this pillar is one of the most important pillars. That's why it sits in the middle, okay. That value communication is very critical. Okay, taking the Apple example forward, okay, what's the pricing policy they had followed, right? What's the pricing policy they followed? If someone can, let's say, let me know the latest pricing policy which they are following right now, right?
You're right.
Oh, is someone writing? Okay, safety of data. Okay. Okay, so I'll go ahead. Maybe I think you are already aware of it, but the pricing policy, it says that Apple has now announced, at least globally, I understand that. Sorry. Yeah, prestige, encryption, premium quality. Okay, fine. These are all value creation features which we are talking about. I'm now focusing on the pricing policy, right? What policy Apple is bringing, right? They are the market leaders. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so if you have seen recently, lower the price of previous model, which is correct. Okay, perfect. Give priority to profits or market share. Very good inputs. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so as you see, they also realize that, okay, being static in the market does not help. So that's why, if you see Apple, right, they are bringing new version of Apple iPhone or iPad or Mac, okay, every year. Okay, every year, almost every year. They have developed a community, developer community, to such an extent that people wait for that Apple event to happen and see what are the new features they are including into their new version of a phone or Mac or whatever the product it could be. But while there is engineering excellence which have been deployed by Apple, how do you make sure that people buy into that products, right? So the latest tactic or price setting procedure which they have deployed is that they are saying that every year we will introduce a new product. If you have bought, let's say, iPhone 12, and we, let's say, launch iPhone 13 within a year's time, okay, you can exchange your iPhone 12 and get iPhone 13 at a fraction of a cost, right? So what they are doing is they are actually making device as a service. Okay, so they are moving towards that. So they are saying that you don't need to own iPhone, okay, for a period of 4, 5, 6 years, same version, and I will not keep pushing updates to you. Okay, if you want a new phone, just go into the store, exchange the phone, old iPhone, and get a new iPhone again next year. If a new version is launched, you can exchange. So it's really a device as a service, and that way customer is locked for a lifetime, right? Because he always knows that in a year or two Apple is going to bring new version, and I am going to get a new version at a fraction of a cost.
Good
Okay,
afternoon, sir.
yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go
Hello.
ahead. Go ahead.
So why they reduces the rate of iPhones are always they increases, they reduces.
That's one of the policy, right? So if you see the new phones or the VR which they have introduced, right, look at the price they have priced the VR, right? It's $3,500. Okay, everyone knows that nobody is going to buy that product in mass for $3,500, right? Still they have set the price, right, at $3,500. Why? Because they know that they don't want to bring it to the mass market right now. Yeah, they want this product, particular virtual reality glass or whatever they have created, they want it to be used by early adopters and not by the general public, because general public is not yet ready to pay 3,500, whereas the early adopters are ready to pay 3,500. It's a matter of pride for them that they have that Apple whatever 3D or VR glass with them, and that way Apple also is getting customers whom they can experiment and make product more future ready, or refine the product more and make sure that the cost gets reduced to an acceptable level.
Okay, sir.
Right. There are good suggestions. Give priority to profits. That's absolutely one of Apple's corporate strategy. Is that the focus is they have a relentless focus on profitability than market share. So that's why you would see the market share is dominated by Android phones, but the profitability or the market cap. Just see the market cap for Apple at $3 trillion is not a. I mean, it was not built in a day, and it's massive. It's more than, let's say, all companies put together in Nasdaq, maybe all three, four top companies put together except Facebook and Google. That's massive, and they are able to create and retain that value because of all these corporate strategy aligned with the pricing strategy. Imagine they had a price corporate strategy that they want to be world's number one innovative company. That's fine, right? But if it does not result into, let's say, if people are not buying into your products, then what use that corporate strategy has if people are not buying the products? Okay, there is an Indian example as well. I like to give that Indian example, which is Indigo Airlines. If you see, they were not the first to enter into the market. Can anybody tell me when Indigo entered into the market?
2010.
2006 it is. Okay, they entered into Indian aviation market in 2006. So right now I think they would have just completed 16 years. They were not the first. Okay, if you see, aviation market was dominated by players like Jet Airways, Kingfisher, okay, then Air India. Okay, although at a, let's say, the market was really small, but still at that point in time they were not the first movers. But look at the pricing strategy which they have followed, right? Look at the corporate strategy. They changed the aviation industry, right, in India. And the example which they took was UK's, or let's say Europe's, flight operator called Ryanair. Okay, they have used the same template in India which Ryanair has used in Europe. Okay, that it's no frills flight. Every flight is of the same size. There will be no business class. Everyone is at the same level, and it is not because customer wants it. It is basically because if you have one type of aircraft, it is easier to maintain, easier to less costly to manage it. Okay, you will need less people to maintain that aircraft. That was the thought process for having the same type of aircraft. Not that because customer wants everyone at the same level, because it's convenient for the company actually to have same type of aircrafts. And their focus is on direct booking. If you see, the focus is on direct booking rather than through, let's say, travel agents. So that reduces the price. Okay, there are no great discounts offered by Indigo, right? If you would have seen in last 6, 7, 8 years, no great discounts have been offered by Indigo, except for, let's say, they would have tied up with, let's say, credit card companies or something like that. But on their own, they don't have any schemes, unlike, let's say, SpiceJet or, let's say, Go First, which went away really fast. Okay, so Indigo is still there, right? Even if Vistara has come in, Akasha Air has come in, Indigo still dominates the market share. So their promise is not on the price. Okay, their promise is on time performance, and that's where Indigo excels.
So I have a one questions
Yeah,
at one point, sir.
yeah.
So Indigo has tie up with the credit card company where they
Yes,
offer discount. But
correct.
when the same ticket is purchased with a debit card, I think the discount is not given, sir. So what is the basically a logic or pricing
Yeah,
strategy
yeah.
behind?
So it is not a, let's say, Indigo strategy. It is that particular, let's say, credit card company strategy or a debit card company or bank strategy, right? So basically, banks want you to spend on credit card. Okay, that's the reason they are offering discount. Let's say, spend it through debit card, there is no additional benefit which bank is getting, right? For bank, I mean, yeah, it's obviously a transaction through a debit card, okay, but it's from your account. No significant benefits are being produced for bank. But if you have a credit card, okay, and imagine that, okay, 50% of the customers don't pay on time, banks can earn interest on that delayed payment, no? So that's why they are more focused on giving more discounts on credit cards. That's their pricing strategy.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so we have got fair examples of this. Let's now dive into key objectives. Okay, so key objectives is obviously vitamin M. Okay, any pricing strategy which you want to do, okay, is with a focus on profitability. Okay, unless there is money in the bank, okay, you can't, let's say, devise, forget about pricing strategy, you can't execute any of the strategies you want, okay, you want to happen for your company. Okay, and when I say money in the bank, it's not investors money in the bank, but it's the money generated from the business. Okay, so at a unit level, okay, unit economics plays an important role in pricing strategy and corporate strategy. You would have seen that example, recent example of Byju's failing massively, right? So why Byju's failed massively? It's almost about to fail. I'm getting a sense that because their corporate strategy was not coherent with their pricing strategy. Okay, all they used was investors' money, pump it into marketing, and make sure that customers are pulled into and they get a loan. Okay, so there was no money which was realized in all this process for Byju's. Okay, so they relied on the hope that customers will not leave the platform and will continue to use the platform, but that has not happened. In fact, you would hear so many stories, right, that they people got a loan to get a course from Byju's, okay, for their kids, and course is stopped in between, but the loan liability is still with customers, right? That's a, let's say, bad example of a customer experience, right? So it just vanished. So they are just living on, let's say, investors money as of now, from the media reports, I can say, right? So vitamin, I mean, I have termed it as vitamin M, but yeah, money is very important. Another objective is increase productivity, survive into the market, right? Unless you survive into the market, you will not be able to dominate the market. Yeah, you need a survival mechanism. Okay, and you need that, and your pricing strategy has to follow that instinct that my pricing should make company sure that it survives. Okay, that it does not go south. And ultimately, once you achieve all these objectives, then yeah, then you dominate the market, and then you can be like, yeah, Nawazuddin Siddiqui from game Sacred Games. Okay, so there are three key pillars, okay, uh, for a strategic pricing, right? We have discussed those. I'll just mention it briefly. One is value based. We discussed at length about what value means to the customer, okay, what value means to us, okay, and how do you share the value, okay, between customer and myself so that I get the benefits, okay. Second one is proactive, okay, communicate and don't keep it with you. Okay, it has to be proactive. Suppose you are, let's say, you are anticipating a disruptive movement, okay, disruptive event in industry, for example, chat gpt. Okay, chat gpt is one of the most important disruptive events which would happen to IT service industry. Okay, so you should be proactive, right? Now, to make sure that your pricing strategy is coherent to that disruptive event. Or suppose if a manufacturing firm is anticipating recession, okay, then the pricing strategy should evolve in such a manner that the pricing should be flexible, anticipating the recession. So it should not be reactive, that now I am into a recession and what should be my pricing strategy and how should I sell it. Okay, it has to be proactive. And third objective is it has to be profit driven. Any pricing strategy you do, be it market share based pricing, or let's say market skimming, market penetration, customer pricing, competitive pricing, RFP pricing, it has to be profit driven, because without profit you can't generate a stakeholder return. Okay, so let's test your perception now. It's kind of a quiz time, right? So this is an example, right? So there is an economist subscription. Okay, 1 year online access, you get it at a $59, and there is another option, 1 year print and online access, you get it at $125. Okay, Which one would you prefer? You can provide your comments in the chat box. I'll see. Okay, so I think the majority of the responses is that they will choose option one. Okay, fair enough. Okay, because apparently, obviously, you see that okay, online access is at $59, print and online is 125. So why should we have, let's say, 125, which is fair enough. Let's get to the second point. Okay, this was the strategy actually followed by economists at that point in time, and it was very successful, okay, for economists. So we'll see that. Okay, this is the subscription which they bought. Okay, 1 year online access for 59, print only subscription 125, and print plus online subscription $125. What do you think customers chose at that point in time? Okay, so most of the people are saying that okay, customers chose print plus online subscription for $125. Okay, so this is a very interesting pricing tactic which was used by economists. Okay, so it is called the decoy pricing. Okay, so nothing had changed. If you see the first option and second option, nothing had changed. Okay, they have just inserted one line called print only subscription will be available at 125. As you are reading into it, humans are irrational. Okay, so that's what economists used it to their advantage. So economists used it to its advantage and just inserted one line that print only subscription is 125. So as people are reading into it, people bought into the idea that okay, if I'm getting print plus online subscription at the same price as print only subscription, why should not I go ahead and opt for print plus online subscription? That's what they were trying to do, right? On the left side, right? They were trying to sell their customers print plus online subscription at $125. But as you said, right, even in this poll, people bought into the first option, $59, right? Whereas economists wanted people to buy print plus online at 125. So they changed the tactic. On the right hand side you see, and then they saw that the results just reverse. 80% of the people bought into print plus online subscription at $125, and they did not buy $59 1 year online access. So that's something that's a really interesting observation on a decoy pricing. It is called decoy pricing, where print only subscription is just there, okay, as an option. Economist does not want to give you print only subscription at $125. Even as a customer, I don't want print only subscription at $125, but it is there. So the moment you have relative comparison, okay, on the right hand side of your, let's say, slide, you will choose print plus online subscription at $125. Okay, let's deep dive. Okay, key decision points. Okay, for any pricing. Okay, any pricing strategy. We have discussed about this. I'm just kind of encapsulating. Okay, one is competition. Someone mentioned about competitive pricing. Okay, that is very important. Okay, but at the same point in time, I need to ascertain that whether my internal processes are really aligned, okay, to match or even to compete with that price. Okay, I have a question. Okay, suppose you are following competitive pricing. Okay, will you always follow competitive pricing, or how would that happen? Because let's say if I am right now offering something at 50 rupees, competition is offering at 40 rupees, I will reduce my price to 40. Competition will reduce to 30. Then I will reduce to 30. Okay, would I do that continuously?
No.
Okay, then what would I do?
Add some incentive or benefits at the same price.
Product upgradation, sir.
Sorry?
Product upgradation, value addition to the product or service.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Suppose it's a commoditized product, saying that there is nothing special in that product. You are doing a value upgradation, but customer does not see that as a value addition. What do you do in that case?
Every time value is not just matter, quality is also matter. So sometimes qualitative product could be higher price, but people purchase it, and sometimes given things which people doesn't like to buy. So we can say,
Okay, you are leading to the correct, let's say, proposition is that you create a target group. People who see quality, okay, you offer a higher version or upgraded version to them, have a separate target group and price it differently. Volumes may not be significant, but you will be able to get good profit from that. Also offer a light version, okay. You would have seen that in software as a service, let's say subscriptions which you have, right? You have some models called freemium, some models called premium. Okay, some are absolutely free, some are only, I mean, subscription only basis, right? So these are nothing but target groups. Okay, depends upon the interest. Okay, and depend, they have created a target group saying that these people are heavy users. Okay, are heavy users and they want to have the target group. Okay, and they have created those segments and they are pricing it accordingly.
Sir, I have one question.
Hmm.
What kind of pricing is it when
Hmm.
railway sells tickets in Tatkal, premium Tatkal,
Very good.
and
That's a very good
high
question. Very good question. So
different?
it is called dynamic pricing. Okay. So the railway, which the pricing strategy which the railway deploys is dynamic pricing. Okay. So they harness the data. Okay, and make sure that the pricing this is the same pricing strategy which is followed by airlines as well, right? It's called dynamic pricing because they want to make sure that they cover their marginal cost for selling a additional ticket. Okay, so if you see in airline industry or in, let's say, railway industry, okay, railways, most of the costs are fixed. Okay, and that's the reason whenever, let's say, seats are not getting filled up, okay, railway, it does not matter because railways are always full. So that's why you would see even a dynamic pricing, you won't have significant change. But in case of airline industry, okay, because there are no seats which are being, let's say, getting filled up, the price keeps coming lower, right? Because they want to recover their marginal cost for that additional seat. Okay, the objective is to cover your variable costs, okay, and not your fixed costs for every ticket, additional ticket you sell at that point in time. So that's why they use dynamic pricing.
Thank you, sir. Understood.
As
Okay.
per need, sometimes same content product we get, one is higher price product and second is same content but with less price. So as per customer need, if someone wants to purchase that product in less price, so people choose that product also. That doesn't matter ki, which brand they have. They just need same
Absolutely.
content,
Yeah.
same with same
Right.
ingredients, or we
Yeah.
can say.
So there is a target group, right? As you are rightly pointing out, there is a target group of customers which is price sensitive. There is a target group of customers which is not sensitive to price. Okay, so the one you are talking about is sensitive to price, so they will choose any brands, right? They are not bothered it, I mean, they will look at the functionality of a phone. They are not bothered whether it's Android or iPhone. They'll just pick up any phone, okay, which provides, let's say, value for money from their eyes, right? And they can have any mobile which is functional, which can make calls, receive messages, send messages, that's it. Okay, so that's their primary objective and they are very price sensitive, so there is a market for them as well. For those people who are not price sensitive, there is a market for them. But every company needs to define that what target group they want to enter into or they want to focus into. That's the corporate strategy, that I want to focus. For example, take boat lifestyle, okay, which sells all earphones or wearables. Their target group is fixed. They want to focus on age category of 18 to 24. Okay, that's their primary target. Okay, all other targets they are selling it, but their primary revenue generating target is 18 to 24. And if you look at all the pricing of their wearables is so focused around that age group, that you will always find boat lifestyle products very affordable compared to, let's say, compared to say JBL or compared to Bose, right? But market for Bose or JBL also exists because there are people who buy those products at a higher price. But boat is focused on 18 to 24, and that's how their corporate strategy gets translated into a pricing strategy. And that's the next key decision point which I will bring it. Market situation we covered, and now we are covering cost. Okay, initially we started, okay, someone I think mentioned that it should be a cost based pricing. Okay, so any thoughts on, after all this, okay, any thoughts on whether cost based pricing is effective way?
In a competitive market, it is effective, sir. In a highly competitive market, cost pricing, I think.
Okay, in fact, in a highly competitive market, cost pricing is the most ineffective way to do the pricing. Okay, I'll give you an example. For example, you do, okay, you come up with your fixed cost, you come up with your variable cost, okay, and you spread it across, let's say, 1,000 units, okay, and you keep it a point, okay, have a price point which is, let's say, significantly higher, okay, let's say you price it 20 rupees, okay, whereas the market customer is looking at that product, or market is looking at that product at 10 rupees. You launch the product at 20 rupees, taking your cost into consideration.
Can you
Will
wait?
anyone in the market buy that product?
No, people will refrain to buy it.
Right? So cost based pricing does not work, right? And that's a fallacy, right? If you see, you are, whenever we are doing cost based pricing, we are going ahead with some assumptions, right, that I will be able to sell 1,000 units, okay, and that's how I spread my fixed cost over 1,000 units, and I come up with a per unit pricing. What if you are able to sell 10,000 units? Your fixed cost gets spread across 10,000 units, so your unit pricing is going to reduce, right?
You
But
watching
yeah,
Netflix or
I'm not saying cost-based pricing is not used by any of the firm, but those who use it, they don't have the those who use it, they don't have the competitive advantage over those who use value-based pricing. Okay.
But my question is now is this, sir.
Hmm.
If we are not considering cost-based pricing, then how profit will come?
No, exactly. So we are considering, so in a strategic pricing, we are considering cost-based pricing. We are only considering relevant cost. Okay. You must have heard the concept of relevant cost and irrelevant cost. Okay. So relevant cost is your contribution margin for every product or for every service you sell. Are you covering your variable costs, and is your contribution margin covering your fixed cost? Okay, that is the logic which is used by pricing. Okay, when we do strategic pricing, it's not the total cost, but it's the relevant cost. For example, I'll give you an example that suppose I'll take a latest example. Suppose you go into a movie theater, right? Assuming that movie is good, okay, and it turns out in first 15 minutes you realize that it is bad movie, okay, and then you want to run away from the theater. What you would do? You are alone, okay, you are not with family, nothing, you are alone. What you will do? Will you still sit in that theater, having that torture of seeing the movie for 2.5 hours, or you will just walk away from the theater?
You will walk away, will do some other things.
Exactly. So that's the relevant cost, right? Because whatever money you have spent on the movie ticket, that's a sunk cost, right? You have already spent it, you can't do anything about it. Okay, what you can do is how you utilize your next 2.5 hours, whether you utilize watching that movie which you don't like, or you do some other productive stuff. Same concept is being applied for pricing.
Sir, but what do you think about the geo pricing when they penetrated the market as compared to the competitors?
Yeah. So that's why. So, but if you see, everyone has a long-term, medium-term, and short-term objective, right? So the long-term objective for Geo is to become profitable. Okay. So right now for that, because they are late entrants into the market, okay, they need to acquire customers from the existing, let's say, service providers. Yeah. So that's why they had to deploy pricing, which is called predatory pricing. So they come in as a predator. Okay, if someone is giving something at 100 rupees, they give it at 20 rupees. Okay, and then they attract the customer, make sure that the customer stays. And now you look at the plans which Jio has launched. Initially it was, I mean, I think it was unlimited some internet or something like that, but now it's like it has reduced to now 2 GB a day, or it's limited to 28 days, limited to 25 days. If you want additional internet, you need to pay. And customers are ready to pay it once they are onboarded. But the first step is acquiring the customers from the existing service providers. So that's called predatory pricing. Reliance could do it because they have deep pockets. No one else is able to do it. And that's only possible in India. If you look at the Western markets, no service provider is offering such deep discounts to its customers, because they can't. For one thing, they don't have the population to its advantage, whereas in India you have huge population, so you get a huge customer base, and you somehow you can reap your fixed costs. Okay, if you add more volumes.
So what is the cost, not the accounting ones?
That's the one, right? So in accounting, okay, you record all of your costs, right? You don't bifurcate. In accounting, you don't bifurcate whether that's a relevant cost or not relevant cost, or whether that is a sunk cost. Like we gave an example of a movie ticket, right? price of a movie ticket. That's a sunk cost. But accounting will record it at I have spent 100 rupees. It will not say that it is a sunk cost and you can get up and go out somewhere and do some productive work. It will say that I have made a loss of 100 rupees, for example. Accounting will say I have made a loss of 100 rupees. But I know that I have already made, 100 rupees already spent. At least now let me spend 2.5 hours productively so that I can reap some benefit from that.
So can we take the example of MX Player where they offering customers to free content for some time
Okay,
to earn profit or just to earn fame
fine.
or
We can,
just create value in the mind of customer.
yeah, we can. So see, this is again a pricing.
They still offering free content to customers. So how they
Correct.
afford it?
No, no. So they are offering the content right now because again they are late entrants into the market. Market is already dominated by Amazon Prime, Netflix, Z5, Hotstar, so many players, right? So they need to enter into the market. They need to get those customers, right? Unless, see, what happens in all these OTT platforms is called network effect. Okay, unless people come into the platform and refer that platform to people, right? Have you watched this series on MX Player? Okay, nobody
But
is
now
going
it's
to go.
more than 3 years. They
Correct. They are
survive
doing it.
and more than in middle time they get earn and fame and lots they make lots of money because of free content. But now they again they are in loss. So how they afford
Yeah, yeah.
still
They see
afford
what happens is it in these situations, no pricing policy, it becomes very tricky because India is a price sensitive market. Okay, it's basically a price sensitive market. So if some other player comes up with a better plan than MX Player, they will switch to that OTT platform, and MX Player will be at a loss. So you will always be evolving your pricing, taking into the consideration that India is a price sensitive market.
don't you think it could be a loss for them or
It is loss for them, but then the only thing is the only thing they can do is diversify their offerings and make some unique content, right? Like Netflix or Hotstar. Hotstar got the rights for IPL, I guess, this time, or even Geo Cinema. So make something, have something unique, so that people come to your platform. So in marketing, you would have seen the push strategy and pull strategy, right? So you pull customers by offering some content. Okay, you pull the customers, so that's where the pricing strategy also kicks in. If you have some really unique content which people want to see, people will come and subscribe, and then you generate advertising revenues. Then you offer more models, that it can be advertisement free model where you pay subscription on a monthly basis, or you continue to use free model, but you will be interrupted by 2-minute advertisement after every 10 minutes. Okay, so we discussed a lot about various pricing strategies. Right? All these various strategies have one goal, which is profitability and value addition. Okay, so we talked about market skimming, we talked about let's say cost plus pricing, we talked about price discrimination, right? We talked about psychological pricing, right? The Coke bottle example is nothing but a psychological pricing. We also talked about cost plus pricing and how it is not relevant from an accounting point of view, but it is certainly relevant from a record keeping point of view because we need data from the past. Okay, so and then there is market penetration, which we just talked about. MX Player wants to enter into a market, Geo wants to enter into a market, so that's why they are deploying various pricing strategies to capture the market. Okay, then as we said, right, customer is God. Okay, customer is pricing is not dependent upon how your internal processes are set up, but how customer sees value in your product or service. Okay, you may have brilliant team of engineers, brilliant team of, let's say, all IIT graduates, and you say that my price is $150. Customer is not going to pay $150. He will say that I am getting a product at $20. Why should I pay you $150? So there are various, let's say, buckets of customer. As we said, right, in case of Apple, brand driven customer. Okay, some customers are brand driven, some customers are convenience driven. Okay, convenience, we took the example of Coke, right, where convenience mattered most. Some customers are price driven. We saw about price sensitivity, right? Someone, let's say, buying a basic phone, instead of going at a, let's say, higher, even a higher Android version, forget about Apple, but he or she will not even opt for a higher Android version. Some are value driven, what value it derives, okay, for them. And this is not only B2C category, all these categories are applicable for business to business, because although companies transact between each other, it is ultimately humans who are negotiating the contract. So whatever value those people see on the other side of the table is the value you should be able to provide in their language. Okay, you should not go and say that, okay, I have this fantastic innovation which I have, okay, and you should use it. Customer will say, what's in it for me, right? What's the value it provides? Will it reduce the cost? Will it increase my revenue? Will it manage my expenses more? Will it streamline my governance process? It needs to be communicated in the language customer understands. Okay, so this is a very interesting slide. We have now delved deep into, let's say, the pricing strategy, how it works, and whose baby is it anyways, right? Pricing, whenever a pricing word comes into mind, first thought that it is finance, okay? Then people think, okay, no, it's actually a sales job, okay? And in some cases, okay, people say, okay, it's a marketing function. Pricing needs to be set by marketing, not by finance or sales. So what do you think? This is the only P in the marketing mix which generates revenue. Okay, what's your opinion that pricing, where should it sit? With finance, sales, marketing? What's your thought process?
So
Marketing.
I feel it should be the intersection of all these three.
Okay,
Sir, I think it should be marketing.
okay,
It should be marketing.
okay. So I got the kind of, let's say, so the view is that mostly it is maybe marketing, sales, but certainly not finance. Okay, so there is a emerging popular view as far as the strategic pricing is considered, that it is now considered as a separate tower. And as someone has pointed out, that pricing is not, let's say, related to one area, which is, let's say, finance, sales, or marketing. It is at intersection of all the departments, right? So you need to make sure that pricing is a separate tower, okay,
That should be
which
like regulatory authorities,
sorry,
like independent regulatory authorities, sir.
absolutely, independent unit within a company
Yes,
which kind of interacts with finance, sales, marketing, takes their inputs and devise a pricing strategy. So if you see companies like Google Cloud, okay, or Amazon Web Services, or let's say Netflix, they have a separate pricing function which reports directly to CEO. Okay, they don't report to CFO, or they don't report to CTO, they don't report to Chief Operating Officer. They directly report to CEO, because it's a separate unit, and it has so much critical importance as part of achieving the corporate strategy or corporate objectives, that people or the companies have started realizing it, and they are now creating the separate function for pricing strategy. So you will find many people as chief pricing strategy officer, which have been appointed at Google, Amazon, Netflix. They have been appointing since quite some time now. So that's how it has gained an prominence, and that's why it is critical to have. I mean, there are various views. To start with, you can have it with finance, sales, marketing, because it's a small function. As it scales up, you can have a separate unit.
Kedar sir, sorry to
Yeah,
disturb you. I guess we need to
I
wind up
think, yeah.
till 1:15.
Yes, yes. So I think the last thing, just I want to say that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. That's the prime principle which is followed in pricing strategy. So you should always focus on your customer, what value that customer sees, and offer the price accordingly, not according to your internal cost mechanisms. I think, yeah, I hope it was interactive and I was able to, let's say,
So one
partially.
point
Yeah.
I think we need to have a discuss regarding those cashbacks which you just mentioned, the corporate strategy.
Uh-huh.
So regarding cashback, you were saying we're going to say
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
sir.
So if you say the cashback is nothing but again a way of, let's say, a cashback provided by credit card companies, or some, let's say, GPay, or some, let's say, the UPI focused for companies such as Paytm. It is their actually marketing strategy. I would say cashback is not a pricing strategy, but it is more as a marketing strategy, and they are adjusting the price to achieve that marketing strategy. So the more cashback you give, for example, cred also gives various points or cashbacks, right? So objective is to retain the customer again. Otherwise, and if you see those cashbacks when cred started, they had offered significant cashbacks or significant points. Now if you see, Red is not offering that level of cashbacks or points as they were offering 2 or 3 years back. Okay, so they have to scale it down because profitability is the prime motivator of all the marketing pricing strategy which you do. Whatever cashback you give, okay, if it is not resulting into profit, okay, either now or after 2 or 3 years, then you will see those cashbacks disappearing very fast.
So I just have a question. Can you please explain once again the cost based strategy, why it will not work in the mass market?
Sure. So for example, let's say there is a cost-based pricing which you have worked up, right? You have total cost of, let's say, 10, let's say 100, I will say 10 crores. Okay. And based on that, you will say that, okay, I am now, this is a new product which I am, let's say, launching for, or new service which I am providing. Okay. And based on this 10 crore, my price per unit should be, let's say, I am selling 1,000 units. Okay. Let's say, let's take a simple example that 100 rupees is your cost, total cost. You are selling, you estimate that you will be able to sell 10 units. So you say that my price per product is 10 rupees. Okay. And then you go into the market, launch the product at 10 rupees, but nobody buys it because that product is available at 5 rupees. But then if you do a costing, if you do a cost plus base approach at 5 rupees, you will never be able to make profits. Why? Because you are restricted to 10 units, right? But at the same time, if you use the, let's say, contribution margin based approach, which is have your price reduce your variable cost, you arrive at a contribution margin. So out of that 100 rupees, you, okay, after bifurcating, you know that, let's say, 40 rupees is the fixed cost. Whether you sell the product or you don't sell the product, it remains, you are going to incur that 40 rupees. So 60 rupees is your variable cost, right? So 60 rupees every unit you make, okay, every unit you make, you incur, let's say, that 60 rupees every unit you make, let's say you incur 3 rupees to make that, okay, 3 rupees to make a unit. So that means you are incurring, you can make 20 units, okay, in that 60 rupees. Okay. So now tell me, if you are able to sell 20 units at 60 rupees, okay, then what would be your profit? It will be still minus 40, right? Because even though you sell those 20 units at 3 rupees, you will recover your variable cost, your contribution margin will become zero, okay, and you are able to, and your fixed costs are 40 rupees. So your loss is 40 rupees. But imagine a situation where you are able to, let's say, sell even, let's say, at 5 rupees. So 5 rupees, that means that you are at a break even, right? Because for 5 rupees, you will incur same at 60 rupees variable cost, you will sell it at 100 rupees, you will recover your fixed cost. So now you can sell it at 6 rupees. 6 rupees you are at a profit. Okay, 7 rupees you are at a profit if you consider the marginal costing approach. Whereas if you consider total cost based approach, until you hit 10 rupees, you won't be able to make profit.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, can we say some products are exception for pricing strategy? Like Cetaphil product is such product which never promote their product very much. Recently, they started promoting, but they are but they are selling their product still in high rates. They don't need promotion. So such product could be exception for pricing strategy.
No, there is no exception. Everything has a strategy. So if they are not promoting it, they know that their product is so good that they don't need to
Yes,
promote it.
if we are talking about Anjali's product in the kitchen accessories, they never promote, they never add they never show ad or any
No, they will
media
never show
platform.
ad because there is a network effect in place. Someone tells that Anjali product is good, you should buy this, goes there, either buys it on Amazon or go to the store and buy it, right? They don't need separate advertising efforts. And that's the reason if you will see that even they are managing their costs so well, even the product's price will be very competitive compared to the market.
So even they have their pricing policy.
Absolutely, they have it. Every profitable enterprise needs to have a pricing strategy based on which they can generate profit. If you don't have a strategy, you can't generate a profit. You are just reacting to the market. So I hope I was able to partially answer some of the questions. These are very good questions, thought-provoking questions, and very good thought process this batch has. I'm very glad that yeah, this is a brilliant batch.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for that kind words, sir. Before proposing the word of thanks and going to the end of session, students, like we always take the photo with our speaker. I would request the student to switch on their camera so sir can also go through you and you can also see. We can have a good picture with sir.
Sure, sure.
Please stop sharing, sir.
Yeah, he has already done it.
I'm already there. No? Yeah, I'll share it.
Everyone, please switch on your camera. Okay, I'm clicking.
Because we see your three photo in the center screen.
Okay, I got two
I don't
screenshots.
know how that happens. So okay,
Done,
fine.
team?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you,
I hope
sir.
have a have a good day.
Yes, it
And
was our honor, sir, to have you for this spectrum that is the
most
virtual conclave. Your insights and aspects were really helpful and valuable. So thank you so
no
much, sir.
worries. It's my honor to be in the company of such a brilliant batch and students. I also got to learn many things. I'm sure I'll be able to utilize those learnings.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.